Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
We are a market that loves to beat L.A., but in the past week, the Valley received great praise for helping L.A., so are we now ready to cheer for L.A., a team representing the pride and resilience of a fire-ravaged city? The answer for me is sorry, but no. What I want is for the Cardinals to feel the sting of the opportunity they lost in 2024, how all the credit they received for staging a relocated playoff game at the last minute is nothing compared to the credit they would have received for actually playing in that game. I want Kyler Murray to focus on taking his leadership to the next level. It occurred to me that so many of the great quarterbacks, from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes, from Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson, they make it a point to be one of the guys. I want Murray to focus on that. I would like Monty Ossenfort to trade the number 16 overall pick to the Raiders. We get Max Crosby. They get an asset they need to move up in the draft and select a quarterback. And finally, I would like Michael Bidwill to spend as much on this football team as he does on a former head coach in D.C., his new and expanded business operations in Tempe, stadium casitas, and a reported fleet of four Boeing 777s. I want the Cardinals to make us as happy as they did our division rivals and all their traveling fans from Los Angeles, and I want the Rams to never feel comfortable in State Farm Stadium again. All right, today's Callous Bickley Blast, brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Start referring to you as Charlie Callous.
Hey.
There's a Jarrett reference right there.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I'm so glad to be here with Vit.
If you're callous, then I'm callous too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Rams did a lot to give some pride back to the city.
And the Cardinals did a lot to help them give a lot back to their city. We had on somebody from the NFL. They cannot stop raving about Michael Bidwill.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Mike Florio to write that piece, by the way, because Michael's been the gratuitous pot shot, take a swing at the Cardinals and their ownership every chance possible. What's fair is fair.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But
did you know that they own, according to a report, that they have 4 Boeing 777s?
I did not know that until
I
you
did not know
dropped that in the blast.
I did not know that until I started looking around, poking around that yesterday. Apparently, they just lent a couple to the Rams, and they have 2 more parked over in Pima.
Just for team use, that's it?
I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe they're starting an own airline. Big Red Airlines, serving the Southwest. No baggage fees. Right? So so there's a lot of little elements in this that I wouldn't mind riffing on with you. Let's start with what I said. So it's obvious the opportunity the Cardinals lost. They could have won that division. They could have been playing in that game. That could have been their game all along. All right, but let's focus on this. Kyler Murray, do you agree with me the idea that being one of the guys might be part and parcel to being a good leader at the position in football?
I agree with that. I think if we're going to examine all of the places and areas where Kyler Murray has improved over his 6 years as a Cardinal quarterback, I think that's one of them. I mean, his teammates seem to like him. He's got friends on the team. Mm-hmm. He'll show up with teammates at Suns games in the offseason. So, is it at the level where it needs to be a great leader? I don't have the answer to that question. I think there's been slow progress there.
Mm-hmm. Slow progress, yeah.
Progress,
but not at the level where these other guys seem to have it. Mm-hmm. I just don't think I don't think it's an accident when you get a quarterback that is so relatable and the team just reveres because of their person for being one of the guys, because the position of quarterback is so elevated in terms of financial compensation, praise, glory, headlines, attention, that I think you really build leadership points when you, behind closed doors, get off that pedestal.
I think this is a fascinating subject that you've kind of opened my eyes to, because we've talked so much on the Suns front about leadership. Who's the alpha? Who needs to be the guy? Leadership is not something that's just turned on or off. It is something that you have. I think a lot of that applies to Kyler Murray as well. But I also think, the one of the guys factor is how old is he? 27?
Mm-hmm.
At 27 years old, you kind of are who you are. And I don't think, you're asking somebody to be something that they're not for the sake of a group of men, it's disingenuous at best, and it's really difficult to accomplish.
Maybe more of just making it a point to spend time with these guys in the offseason. Like, I remember last offseason when Kyler Murray was was he in Dallas with James Conner? Either way, he was sitting courtside with James Conner, and I made the comment, they're going to the playoffs, because that is the kind of thing I'm like, if you now are bonding with a hardcore dude who is sort of like the on-field leader of this football team, tone setter for this football team, then you're certainly making progress.
Yeah, and I think you can also separate the different qualities of leadership for an NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. When I say Kyler Murray's made strides, that's what I'm talking about, is the off-season stuff. Spending time with teammates. He organized the workouts at UCLA last summer. I think it was UCLA, wasn't it? Somewhere in Southern California.
I think so. Yeah.
Where everybody got together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a plus. But there's another prong on this leadership question for NFL quarterbacks, and that is, how are you responding? How are you leading in the course of a game situation? Mm-hmm. When things get rough in Charlotte and you're losing to a team in the Panthers that A, you shouldn't be losing to, and B, you really need to beat to keep your playoff hopes alive, how are you responding when stuff goes bad? And we saw the response.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is where, long story short, that's where the improvement needs to kick in. And I think, as I said, leadership like that is not a switch that you turn on and off and you say, hey, you're not a leader by nature, but become one. Mm-hmm. I think that can be developed through, to use your term, calluses and experience as an NFL quarterback. Like, hey, we've gone down this road before. I failed my team before. I gotta lift it to another level.
Yeah. That's it.
Not just for me, but for everybody else.
That's it. And the comparison that a lot of people have drawn, I believe it was the game in Charlotte, where it looked on the sidelines like he needed someone to console him and lift him up. It's got to be exactly the opposite. Mm-hmm. He's got to be the guy lifting up everybody else at all times.
Yeah, wide receivers, those are the players that need to be consoled on the sideline. Your quarterback should not be needed to be consoled.
Maybe you should send some copies of Inner Excellence over there.
A.J. Brown's got one that's all highlighted and dog-eared and everything.
I still can't believe, because A.J. Brown is reading a book on his sidelines, it made so many people go out and buy that book. There are 6 billion self-help books on shelves of bookstores. The sight of a football player reading a book on a sideline, generating that amount of sales force.
Well, A, people are sheep.
Bah.
And B, everybody's so messed up they're looking for anything that can help them.
Well, that is true.
And plus, when there's 6 billion of something, when there's one that stands out,
differentiate?
Yeah, that's how.
Stand out?
Yeah, but it only stood out because he was reading it. Before that, it was
547,000th
on the Amazon list.
That's it. That's why advertising works. That's why people get celebrity endorsers.
Let's hit the other thing real quick.
Okay.
16th overall pick to Vegas for Max Crosby.
Yeah. Is that too much to send for a great pass rusher?
No.
I don't think so.
Isn't Max Crosby going to be better, most likely, than whoever you draft?
Of course he will be.
So that's not too much then.
And the Raiders need a quarterback, and the Raiders are sitting where, 6?
Is that where they're sitting?
I think so.
Because, the two quarterbacks that everybody's going to be fighting over are Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
Probably 1 and 2.
Yeah, probably 1 and 2.
But would 6 and 16 be enough to move up to 2?
You'd probably have to throw in another second or something. You'd probably need a little more than that.
But that would be up to the Raiders.
That would be up to
sweeten
the Raiders.
that deal, not up to the Cardinals. Right. I'd sign off on that.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.